welcome back to the Turnbuckle Chat podcast with myself and David. As always, how are we, buddy?
I am not doing too bad. We've had a nice little week off. How's your
Well,
week been?
I wouldn't call it a nice week off. I spent most of it in bed
Yeah,
with an arthritis flare up. But is what it is. We're on the mend. But yeah,
we
not
are.
been too bad. Been enjoying a lot of wrestling. Um,
Same.
Catching up on a lot of things, and I think I've rewatched the Rumble twice, just picking up a little bits and rewatching the Raw and SmackDown to try and build up for um, Chamber. So
Elimination Chamber.
obviously, Elimination Chamber comes to you on the 31st of March. We are currently on the 16th of March as recording this. So couple
Right.
weeks, 2 weekends, and it's here. So 15 days, isn't it? Was it 15 days?
Yeah.
Something like
20th
that.
of
Yeah.
Feb.
Yeah. 2 weeks yesterday, which is really weird because
Yeah.
it's a Sunday, but we know what it means.
Yes.
But yeah, a couple of things have happened since we've obviously been gone. There's a few things to run over. So yeah, we're just bringing you an episode. We're going to try and get a bit more consistent because at the moment we are awful at going, let's record on this date, and then we don't record. So we will try and make it a bit
Joy,
more.
the joys of having kids.
Yeah, the joys of having kids indeed. I had one yesterday that decided that she wanted to throw up all night, so that put our plans out the window. Uh, but I'm all right now. How's your week been?
Not too bad. Working, obviously working away for the week, so it was just being busy, busy. Well, while I was away, I was able to catch up on a bit of wrestling. Um, Liverpool got the win midweek, so I'm happy with that. But now it's basketball, wrestling, and I am very excited for the next 2 weeks leading up to Elimination Chamber.
I feel like it's really weird that we haven't got a pay-per-view this weekend because December's pay-per-view, obviously, we had Saturday Night Main Event in the middle of the month, and then
Yeah.
there was nothing at the end of it. Obviously, we then had Christmas period, so it was all recorded. Then we had Saturday Night Main Event again, and then a week later was Rumble. I feel like there's a Saturday Night Main Event missing from this weekend. um, People are
Yeah,
just
there's a
forgetting about it, but
this is the longest gap it's been now since but obviously yeah, it's bleh. Get my words out. It's the a nice long gap in between pay-per-views now, and
yeah,
especially between Chamber and Mania, which are like 6 weeks.
yeah. Michael Cole said last week where he said we got 2 weeks till Chamber, but 9 weeks till Mania. And I was like,
Yeah.
I've got loads of time. Then I was like, that's going to come quick. And then, side note, off rest. And then I realised it's 8 weeks till you get married. And I was like,
It
oh.
is. It is. It
So,
is.
so
It is
exciting
ten
times.
officially 10 days before WrestleMania.
Yeah. And the missus isn't happy that you're coming down here. But we won't digress too much. Live your
No.
lives. Anyway, but getting back onto, I don't think we've done the podcast since we come to you live. Well, not live, but we had a recorded podcast with G a couple of
Yes.
weeks ago. Obviously,
A
we give
great
you our thoughts.
conversation.
Great conversation, a great podcast. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to go and check it out below. David will attempt to try and put it on the screen somewhere in editing, but we'll see how that goes. But no, I think since then a few things have happened. We still haven't got a set program for Obafemi.
Nope.
We've just had him absolutely destroy Kit Wilson, which I think was a great segment. I love Kit Wilson. I love his theme song and all this, but
Yeah.
watching him get hulked and the Hulk and Loki scene where Hulk's just smashing him side, that very much gave me that vibe.
Yeah.
So seeing that happen was great. Obviously, they've got a match lined up for Friday coming on SmackDown, but tonight is Raw. A few things happening. First big point we'll talk about, because we'll get your thoughts on this. Now, we are on the road to WrestleMania.
We are.
As we know, as it's already been announced, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, main event
Yes.
of WrestleMania. What are your thoughts on the Elimination Chamber in CM Punk's hometown he will be defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor. What are your thoughts on that? Because that to me is like crazy.
It is. I can't see CM Punk losing. In his hometown, especially. Um, but I do think we are leading up to a Finn Balor single push at the moment because I've seen in news recently this week that he's been doing his old entrance theme song, his
Yeah,
old entrance in live shows. So I don't know whether something brewing in WWE there to tease against a single push or testing it against in some live events. Um, I feel like it's just a match to basically fill the card out, get CM Punk his home crowd reaction, similar to how Finn Balor got his
yeah,
home crowd reaction. It'd be a big shock if Balor wins and gets thrown to the title picture leading to Mania. One thing that will be a big shock if Finn Balor did bring it back to Demon and dethrone CM Punk, and it turns to
yeah.
like a maybe turns to like a triple threat at WrestleMania. But I do think it's just to put that in there purely because it's CM Punk's hometown. But then again, I like it because he's also shown to be a fighting champion, which is what we've spoke about many
Many
of
times.
times. And
Yeah.
if CM Punk does go to be defeated at WrestleMania, if he assuming he contains, I feel like that's what we're going to lose, especially if Roman takes over. I feel like he's going to be there for a few weeks, and then we'll get Backlash off the way with, and that'll be it until SummerSlam.
I seen something earlier that I think I sent to you. I don't know if you've actually responded to me about it yet, or if you just ignored me because you know you like to ignore me at the moment. About
And never
um
know.
the who was it? It was Daniel Bryan, John Cena, SummerSlam, and then he won that match to go on to face Triple H at the beginning of WrestleMania, and then he was in the Randy Orton Batista main event. There's a few similarities with that storyline that have lined up
Yeah.
with what's currently going on with Finn Balor.
Mm.
Obviously, as we all know, yes, Mania was made that event that
Yeah.
year. Daniel Bryan being the underdog, going and beating John Cena to get into the match, and then beating Triple H on the beginning of it, and then beating both of them in the fight in the match for the title. And we probably seen one of the greatest WrestleMania moments there with the crowd at the end. It's kind of made me think, looking at the Finn Balor storyline, the way that that's going, could we
Yeah.
potentially get that same storyline that um, maybe Roman costs him at Chamber, as if to say, like, I'm the tribal chief, I'm the OTC, I'm the big dog, as he used to be called.
Yeah.
It's my yard, I run this place. You don't get a WrestleMania match. And then maybe we get a cut because obviously Roman's been announced for all of March and April. He's going to be live on Raw. We're not going to get a Roman
Yeah.
returns every week graphic. Hopefully not, because we know he's going to be there for a few weeks. But do we
Yeah.
potentially then start getting Finn Balor attacking Roman and attacking CM Punk? Ultimately lines up a triple threat, which is where we then potentially see the Demon return and Finn Balor walking out of WrestleMania with the World Heavyweight Championship.
I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. I do feel like that's more that I would love that to happen. I really would. I was a bit going back to the Rumble about Finn Balor as well. I was a bit gutted that he's not thrown into that intercontinental picture because I really would love to see Dom and Finn.
Yeah.
With the Judgment Day implodement, I can't unless something happens in the next few weeks with that. I can't really see that happening now, building up to Mania.
But this is where
Unless,
I've called where that can happen. I'll let you finish what you're saying, but
yeah,
I've called where I reckon that can happen.
yeah. So unless, obviously, I think if Finn Balor loses at at Chamber, then like he's on two big losses for two championship matches. So I can't really see where he'll come into the next title picture, especially leading up to um WrestleMania. But I'm interested to see what your thoughts are actually on that one.
Um, so I said it to you the other day that my thoughts would be Dom and this is before CM Punk was even announced for Chamber. I said I'd be interested to see CM Punk versus Finn Balor at Chamber. Dom come out to help Priest, not help Priest. going back a couple of years. Help Finn Balor win the title, ultimately maybe costs him the match.
Mm.
Um, which then, like we said, we've got 6 weeks then between Chamber finishing and WrestleMania. That is plenty of time to build up a storyline of an implosion. If Finn Balor then on that Monday Night Raw after Chamber is like, you cost me the title, you did this, you did that, they're in the middle of the ring, and Dom's like, no, I did it, and maybe Finn just smacks him. You've
Yeah.
cost me this, and you've held me back, and you've done this, and you've done that ever since I've joined the Judgment Day. You've tried holding me back. Priest tried holding me back, and all this, and tries to play the pity party. I think that gets people on his side and turns him face like that because immediately people can go Finn Dom WrestleMania Intercontinental title match,
Yeah.
the implosion of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
You potentially could have Finn win that match. The other storyline that I did see and kind of got me thinking about and was interesting was maybe Dom wins the match to get into the chamber
Mm.
and Finn costs Dom the chamber
Yeah.
because he's jealous that he weren't in the Royal Rumble. He's jealous he wasn't in the chamber match. He weren't in this. He's lost his title at Saturday Night Main Event. He lost the title at in Ireland or whatever it was, and he's lost the title now at Chamber, etc. Maybe he ultimately costs Dom the Chamber match. Maybe it comes down to Dom and I don't know Randy Orton or something, and he costs Dom, leading then to Dom to be the one to turn on Finn, and ultimately that's when then we get the Demon Finn Balor come back in that way. Um, there's a few different storylines you get. Like we've said, there's 6 weeks between Chamber and Mania. It's not like most pay-per-views where you get 2 or 3 shows and you've got to build a storyline quick.
No,
There's a
that's
lot
true.
of time to build these storylines and a
Yeah.
lot of time to build things. And I don't know if the gentleman's going to be watching, but someone commented on our thing the other day when we put out our joint predicted night one and night two, and someone commented saying this feels like something that your dream mania, not what the storylines are saying. And I'm sat there going, at that point we still had 11 weeks to Mania. I've seen stories built for Mania 2 weeks prior,
Yeah.
i.e., the Cody Rhodes Seth Rollins story. As much as we all knew Cody Rhodes was returning, Seth Rollins wasn't announced for Mania until 2 weeks or a week before Mania. They built up a good storyline with it for the building the week of him going, whoever it is, I'm going to blah. And you build a good storyline. There's other storylines that have happened quicker and they've got into it.
Yeah.
WWE's got to take a whole U-turn at the moment because Bron Breakker's come out injured, done his hernia. He's now out injured. You've got
I know.
Seth
We have
Rollins.
got about
Yeah, you've got Seth Rollins out injured.
that.
You've got LA Knight on the way back. So at some point, where do you put him? Because maybe he could have been in a title picture or something like that. Obviously, he's going into the chamber, so it would be good to see him to win.
Mhm.
But people seem to think that we have an opinion of what we want our. Ultimately, yes, the guy's comment was correct. It is what our dream WrestleMania would look like right this
Yeah.
second with who we've got. But there's nothing stopping any of those storylines building. There was nothing on there that I look at it and go, "Oh, that was completely out of this picture." The only one
No.
potentially is the Julia match because it was like we had Sol. I think we had Sol Ruka in it.
Mhm.
Um, Chelsea Green, Sol Ruka, Julia, and Jordan Grace. Well,
Yeah.
Jordan Grace has lost to Jade Cargill, so that potentially ends that rivalry. Chelsea Green, as much as she's crying about an ankle, it's only like a week injury. She's only going to be out for like a week or two. You could come back and try and fight for a title. Sol Ruka's getting a massive push at the moment.
Yeah.
And what better than for Kiana James to be like, I've beat everyone. Who else am I going to face? Sol Ruka comes up next week. There's already the massive implosion of Zarya and Sol Ruka going to happen.
Mm.
What a better place to erupt that than Zarya turning on Sol Ruka in a championship match at WrestleMania.
That was very true.
It's not something I'm sitting there going, oh, this is a fantasy booking. We'll do that. They're realistic things that can happen. You're
Yeah.
looking at Dom
Yeah.
defending the title at the moment. The picture we're looking at, you look at Finn Balor's own. The only route I'm looking at him for Mania. But how do we get there? Okay, well, what if there's competition for 7 people to enter the ladder match.
Mhm.
One match don't happen because someone like Dragon Lee gets injured. They can't call the match. Rather than just giving someone a bye, they put a battle royal. In that battle royal, the last person that comes up, Finn Balor. Finn Balor wins the battle royal. He's in that match. He wins the title in the match. Maybe he pushes Dom off a ladder, team up with Dom throughout the match, and then push Dom off, and then you could build that up to SummerSlam to be
Yeah.
that implosion. Nothing saying it
But,
has to be a direct implosion up to Mania, but
yeah.
there's people seem to think like WrestleMania is next week. You can't build a storyline in a week.
No.
There's 8 weeks till
Yeah.
Mania.
There is a lot of time.
I have just planned you six months worth of wrestling that you could fit in that 8 weeks.
Mhm.
Plenty of storylines could happen, so
There
it's
is.
plenty of time.
There is. There's a lot of time for WrestleMania.
Um, but what are your thoughts? Where do you think? Where looking at that prediction we had,
Hmm.
what are your thoughts on what we've got going on?
I liked it, to be fair. I think you've summed up perfectly, saying that it's not really our dream one because there'll be a lot of for me, obviously, my dream matches are going to be different to your dream matches.
Yeah,
For one, I'll bring Cena out retirement for my dream WrestleMania. That's something I'll do, and we know that's not going to happen. But as you mentioned, I do feel like a lot of it's realistic, and when we put our heads together and we like when you first put it to me and I gave some of my suggestions and then you gave some suggestions and we finally got the final copy. We based it on like realistic storylines that we can actually see happening because
yeah,
if you don't have those like multi-man matches, like the 8-man matches, ladder matches, tag team matches, you're gonna have so many stars missing from the event. Like, and at the moment, like when we were talking through it, and we just had the singles matches, I was like, oh, what about Sammy? Oh, Alistair Black maybe. Oh, you got LA Knight throwing the mix. You got Javon Evans, Trick Williams. Like, you've got so much good talent that deserves to be on the card. And as much as like what people are saying, it's your dream one. Like, we've actually sat there and like, who can we actually not leave off the card? Because every one
yeah.
of them every one of them we've put on the card realistically should be and hopefully will be on the card. It's just
Well,
where to fit them. But as you mentioned, we've got like 8 weeks of WrestleMania. A lot can happen in those 8 weeks. We've seen storylines. Sorry, repeat what you said. We've seen storylines build like 2 weeks before Mania. So there's nothing that
yeah.
says nothing off any of that card might happen. Yet there might be some matches like we've got Gunther and versus Randy Orton, I think, which might or might not happen, but you never know because Randy Orton's
I'm
not
just trying to.
really any storylines apart from Chamber. Gunther's
Yeah,
not included in any storylines, so there's nothing to say that the the legend killer versus the career killer can face off WrestleMania.
yes. This is what I'm just looking at it now because getting at the matches just in case anyone hasn't seen that but is watching. We've got CM Punk Roman Reigns. That was a match that we didn't even look at touching because before we built this, obviously Finn Balor didn't have his title match at Chamber, so it's kind of like we were like, we'll leave that as it, but that is now potential that that could be a triple threat. We've got Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. That is another one that I think, in my opinion, I don't know what your thoughts on it, but I feel like that has to be that match because
Yeah.
Tiffy lost her title after having a very impressive 12-month run. Never
Yeah.
got a rematch. She got injured, unfortunately, so she never got her rematch. That to me is justice that Tiffy gets her rematch.
Yeah.
And what a place to have that match. Maybe you have Tiffy win the title back and you put this title back into a division where people like Lash Legend, Stephanie Vicaire, Raquel Rodriguez, like you're getting with Raw, but the SmackDown superstars, so maybe the Charlotte Flairs, the Alexas, maybe even Julia, someone like that can actually be interested. Because if you put Julia against Jade Cargill, she's just going to squash her.
Yeah.
Um, it does make sense. Then we looked at the United States Championship. Maybe tension start building. So we did a fatal four-way that was Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, The Miz, and Trick Williams. Now, I put Trick Williams in there because I thought you can't not have him at WrestleMania in his first
Mhm.
big year. But Carmelo, Ilya, and The Miz all have a storyline. They
Yeah.
currently have a storyline. Ilya is still owed a title match. It keeps happening. The only way that I could see that changing is now Solo's getting involved. So maybe we get a six-way ladder match.
Yeah.
More people go into that match. Maybe we get Uncle Howdy in it as well, and keep that. Um, Women's Intercontinental Championship: Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. I personally feel like AJ is going to win it at Chamber, so that will
Hmm.
be the rematch. So as much
Yeah.
as
No,
people sit there
yeah.
and going, "Oh, that's not storyline," AJ's got a promo tonight. Chamber in AJ Lee's hometown, they give her the title, and then
Hmm.
at Mania, Becky tries to get revenge in that way. The WWE World Tag Team Championships, which are currently held by the Usos. We have the Usos versus the Creed brothers versus Alpha Babes versus Los Americanos versus War Raiders versus Dragon Lee and Sammy. That one maybe is a bit out there. That we're like, oh, okay, that one probably not going to happen. I could maybe see the Usos versus War Raiders versus Alpha Babes as a triple threat.
Hmm.
Maybe they do what they did at WrestleMania 39, where they have them in a fatal four-way, eight-man fatal four-way tag match.
Yeah.
Um, Dragon Lee and Sammy again was one of those we put it in there because it was like, how could you leave both of them off the
Yeah.
card?
Yeah.
Especially Sammy with the run he's having. Maybe you get him a world tag team title or something like that, and it changes a little bit. Los Americanos was more the fact that the next match we've got on here was Al Grande Americano versus original Al Grande Americano, mask for mask. So you sit there going, well, what are the Los Americanos going to be doing? Because are they going to be ringside, or what's going to be? Maybe they get a match, and maybe Los Americanos go and win the titles, and then El Grande Americano loses, gets demasked, and they demask the Los Americanos at the same time. We then
Yeah.
end up with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates as our tag team titles. So that goes back to New Catch Republic then. Gives you a bit of a different dynamic. Um,
Okay.
we've also got Oscar and Kyrie. I feel like that's an implosion waiting to happen. But looking
Yeah.
at it
The tension's
now,
building up.
yeah, looking at it now, we are nearly 3 weeks after Raw. Haven't seen either of them on TV.
Hmm.
So I feel like maybe that could be one that's like, do we
Yeah,
have
because I
that
feel like when we
match?
last seen them, like the tension was building up, but then
Well, Kyrie eliminated Oscar from the Rumble, and you started
yeah,
going, "There's your storyline. Build on that. Build on that."
yeah, and then you've just yeah. Because I mentioned tension rising up there, but we actually, as you mentioned, we haven't actually seen them. But then again,
I've not seen them. No.
we have got like 8 weeks from
Yeah,
Chamber or whatever it is to Mania. So put that so that again, that's also another thing we could have one.
yeah, and then closing night one, not necessarily the last match, but on the end of night one, we've also got Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar.
Hmm.
Um, Obafemi, unfortunately, is just destroying Kit Wilson, like we said earlier,
Yeah,
and running through people. So maybe we get it that we get someone like Brock Lesnar return at Chamber and cost Obafemi.
well, I put that in there
That's
purely because Oba had last week. I think he was in an interview when he said something about and Brock Lesnar got mentioned about saying that it was a conversation he had with Brock Lesnar saying that he's defeated these like black men, and Obafemi said, "Oh, he's not stopped my momentum yet." Like obviously
yeah,
beat like the black man himself, and I was like, is he like sort of teasing there? Like, will Brock Lesnar come out and mention that in a promo maybe, or will Obafemi come out and say because he is basically demolishing basically mid
yeah,
card moment every week? Is he going to come out like a few weeks before Raw and say? Give me someone worthy, challenging, and Brock Lesnar's be the case because Brock Lesnar is announced for a Monday Night Raw coming up shortly. I think in March
potentially.
sometime.
Yeah,
I think he did get announced by WWE that he's on a Raw in March, and obviously we don't know where Omofemi's going to be, whether Omofemi's going to be on SmackDown or Raw, because he is still the free agent, obviously, because
this
he
is what
was going
makes me
into
laugh though. Is Obafemi was offered literally given the SmackDown contract on Friday
the.
and didn't sign it. I think maybe you go this week he faces Kit Wilson. Maybe something happens tonight on Raw, which leads up for him to have a match next week. He has a match on that Raw. obviously, I'm assuming the match on Raw next week will be his chamber entry.
Yeah,
Maybe if we get Dom costing Finn the title in the championship match, you then have Brock costing over the chamber.
yeah.
Brock just coming in, ripping the door open, annihilating Obafemi, and that's how he loses. Then you've got 6 week um, of building that promo of Brock just turning up, taking out Obafemi, Brock being in the ring, talking like, "Oh, Obafemi's blah blah." Obafemi just comes up, crushes him. Um, there's plenty of time, like I said, to
That is the one match. That is the one match on that card because we know about CM Punk Roman already being cemented in, but that is one match when we've seen Obafemi getting called up and being announced for the main roster in Royal Rumble. That's why I said to you first. Why I said they'll have a great match, and I was hoping to see
yeah,
more of them Rumble together. Maybe one of them eliminate each other to go up to the Mania. But that is one match. That is one match I could see happening. But then also that for me that is also a dream match as well.
yeah. And then we go on to night two of our
Yes.
card, which um, we've got Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu. Now,
Mhm.
I don't think this match happens.
No.
I think we get maybe Randy wins the Rumble. I think Cody and Jacob face each other at Mania.
Yeah, that's the only way I can see it. If yeah, because I do think Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu have got to face each other in one way or another, basically.
Yeah, and I think that needs to
Um,
be done without a Drew McIntyre interference.
yeah, and I suppose that would if having Orton win or someone else win the chamber, that would take Drew McIntyre out of that equation then. And also Rhodes and Fatu won't have the eyes set on the title,
Yeah,
especially their feuds going into yeah, that does make sense.
but I think maybe Jacob costs Cody the chamber. There's a lot
Mm.
of potentials for costing someone in the chamber.
There is.
Um, I can't imagine that every person in there is going to have someone cost them, and we're just going to end up Valley Knight winning it like on a whim.
Yeah.
But again, that's another thing that could end in the chamber. Maybe they both end up in the chamber. They both end up just battering each other.
Yeah.
That Randy hits them both with an RKO, or LA Knight hits them both with the BFT and just ends them both. Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe we get Kit Wilson in the chamber, and Kit Wilson just tells them they're toxic, and they both cry.
Yeah.
Um,
Fun.
but yeah, that's what we got wrote down was Drew, Cody, Jacob. Again, if that was to
Yeah,
happen at Mania, I'd be very happy with it.
I would.
Um,
I would like to see Jacob walking out of that.
yeah, that would be different.
Then,
But I'd also
then,
like to see Drew because I
yeah,
feel
I was
like
gonna
giving
say,
Drew that big push is. I think his work at the moment's a lot better, and I'm
yeah,
starting to now start liking him again because it's like,
yeah. And to be fair, because Drew's only really been in a feud with Cody and Jacob really since he's won the title, it'll be
mm,
nice to see Drew facing other stars on
yeah.
the roster as well.
I would like to see LA Knight win the chamber though, and Drew LA
Yeah.
Knight at Mania. That would be a good match.
Hmm.
On to the next one. Stephanie Vicaire defending her women's world championship against Liv Morgan. I
I
feel
do
like
hope. I
I
do
feel
hope
like
Liv chooses
that's
Stephanie.
I feel like personally that could become a triple threat
Mm.
with Raquel Rodriguez getting involved.
Yeah.
They seem to have like killed off that storyline at the moment. It seems like they've put a
Yeah.
hold on it. The fact that they both come out and were eating chicken tendies on SmackDown like they're best pals um, kind of makes me think they've put a hold on that and they're going to give Liv the
Yeah.
title, then Raquel maybe turn.
That's a nice little
Uh,
date. There's a nice little
yeah.
date. Nice little setup.
Then going on to the other side of the Judgment Day, which we mentioned already, Dom Mysterio versus Finn Balor for the IC Championship.
Yes. Finn Balor.
Again, we've obviously spoke about that one, but it's not
We have.
unrealistic.
Mhm.
The Women's United States Championship triple threat we went with in the end. We have Julia versus Chelsea Green versus Jordan Grace. Um, all three of these have been in storylines with each other
Because
because Julia and Chelsea Green obviously um, have the storyline at the moment of Chelsea wants her title back. But you've also got Jordan Grace joining the Secret Service when she faced Jade Cargill and being their protective. That's again not a storyline that can't be built. It could be very much being
yeah,
built.
it could
Um,
be.
from what we've got. Maybe Jordan turns on Chelsea. You start that rivalry, and then Julia turns on Jordan or something like that, and it builds in. The other option for Julia that potentially could happen with next SmackDown's match could be Kiana James turning on her
Yeah,
and going for her own little push. Maybe we get Julia
possibly.
Kiana James. That was a conversation we spoke about that again uh, very much could happen.
It could.
Um, we've got the MFTs versus Street Profits versus the White Six versus Motor City Machine Guns v Fraxium versus Lucha Bros. Again, in that one, my opinion is Lucha Bros are probably the unrealistic option because
Yeah,
Penta and Ray Phoenix are on different brands. Um, Motor City Machine Guns and Fraxium seem to be getting on at the moment and both saying they want title matches. You've got White Six, obviously, currently have a rematch for the titles, I believe, against the MFTs, who are the champions. And then we have started to see online that the Street Profits are slowly coming back into NXT Live. So maybe
yeah,
they could be a surprise entrance for WrestleMania
yeah,
that maybe could see the Street Profits return and do what the Hardys did in 2017, a surprise return into the match, makes it a 6-man ladder match, and they walk out champions. Again, not unrealistic. Then we've got LA Knight and the Masked Man versus the Vision.
Mm.
I think there was a lot of plans for the Vision. Then Bron
It
Breakker got
was.
injured, so it's kind of
That is a shame. I do hope that he does carry on the push when he comes back, to be fair.
yeah. But obviously, him doing his hernia, it kind of leaves that. Maybe we get LA Knight and the Masked Man as the Masked Man versus the
Yes.
Vision.
And
Um,
then he gets revealed.
During the match, maybe the Masked Man's mask is revealed.
Hmm.
A lot of stories at the moment think Grayson Waller. Maybe that
That,
gets revealed.
that, that was my shout as well. I said that on our last
Yeah,
podcast. G. That's
yeah.
my that was my shout.
But if that is Grayson Waller, then
Mm.
ultimately that could lead to Austin Theory turning on the Vision in that match.
Yeah,
Maybe, maybe I'm seeing more of that as a 6-man tag match now. LA Knight, the Masked Man, and someone else. Maybe a
yeah,
Penta or sort of Sammy or something like that versus the Vision, and 3-on-3, and ultimately then Austin Theory decides to turn on the Vision.
yeah,
But again, not a storyline that's unrealistic. They've got a rivalry.
yeah. Very
Um,
true.
Team Rio versus the Bellas versus Charlexa versus Lash and Legend, Lash and Jax. Um, Nia Jax, Charlexa and Nia Jax and Lash Legend all got issues with each other. We know that.
Yeah,
That's clear on SmackDown. You then put in the tag team champions because we know that's a situation that they're wanting that. And then you've got the Bellas who have declared they want the tag team titles. Again, that's 4 storylines that can help. The problem with that one being would be Io and Rio go on to Rio go on to SmackDown. Charlotte and Alexa go on to SmackDown. Nia Jax and Ashley go on to SmackDown. I've only seen the Bellas on Raw at the moment. So
yeah,
maybe unless they turn up in the chamber or turn up on a few SmackDowns and start doing Raw and SmackDown,
hmm,
you could build that match and ultimately um, go elsewhere with that match and have it as a fatal four, 8 women fatal
good.
four way for
Easily
tag team
happen. Yeah,
match. We did have Gunter versus Randy because we got obviously the world title picture being a triple threat, but
yeah,
with the option of Drew McIntyre could face LA Knight or Randy instead.
yes,
Um, we've got to think about the possibility, even if it's just Drew McIntyre versus Cody.
yeah,
Gunter needs a match at WrestleMania. I think it's too early for him to retire Brock. We've said it in the past. Obviously, Brock wants to retire this year. Um, I think it'd be too early for Gunter to face someone like Brock, but facing the career killer versus the legend killer, well, that would be an incredible match. I think
yeah,
people would like to see that. I think they'd have a really good epic match. You could have like an epic RKO moment where he RKO's him and he bounces up, and as Randy gets up, blah blah, he puts him straight back into the sleeper lock
mhm,
and kind of have Gunter no salve the RKO in a way.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
could build a storyline to just build Gunter, but necessarily doesn't really end Randy Orton's career.
Yeah.
Um, and then we picked a celebrity match because every WrestleMania has one. Recently, it tends to include Snoop Dogg because he seems to be at most
Yeah.
WrestleManias. But maybe we get Bad Bunny, Jelly Roll in the crowd,
Yeah. There
or
has been rumors about Bad Bunny returning to wrestling soon as well.
yeah, maybe I Show Speed. He has trained at the Performance Center still. A
Yeah.
lot of potential there. Um, the I wouldn't say them two cards are unrealistic, and I wouldn't say
No, they're
they're
not.
completely out there and what can't happen because 100% they can.
Yeah.
So I think there's a big push coming after Chamber. I think we've got CM Punk Roman, we know that. I feel like we
Yeah.
might get Liv's announcement tonight. I feel like Jade
Mhm.
Cargill's message to her the other day that was, "If you pick me, I will end you." I
Yeah.
think that's going to side Liv onto Stephanie Vicaire more. That seems to be a rather they're going down, and I'd like to see it. To be fair, CM Punk Roman, Stephanie Liv, and then the other matches. I think after Chamber, you start seeing. You'll obviously get the other women's and the other heavyweight championship match lined up, so that gives you your big four matches. I
Yeah.
think Chamber will also see the start for the women's Intercontinental. Um, and there's other storylines here that are going to go.
There
Obviously,
is.
Al Grande and original Al Grande are already lining up. A lot of comings together. Maybe a AAA situation just before Mania,
Mm.
where in March, where that could line that up. They speak, and one of them challenges the other to WrestleMania, and we get that AAA announcement. Um, but I think from where we are at the moment, it's quite
I think
exciting.
it's a good lineup. I think it's a
Obviously,
very good lineup.
the one thing we haven't covered at the moment is, as it stands right now, we have got Randy Orton and LA Knight, and we've got Rhea Ripley uh,
Bliss. The
and
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss
Yeah.
are the four people that have been announced for the
Yeah.
Chambers. So obviously, there's still four men and four women to go.
Yeah.
Um,
We've got two matches tonight, is it?
yeah, so I want to say it's
Yes.
like Lyra.
You've got no t tonight. I think it's for the men's. Is it? It's Gunther, Javon Evans, and Dom,
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't see Gunter not winning that, if I'm
no,
honest.
and then I think you've got Bailey, Oscar, and Natty.
Yeah, so Javon Evans, Gunter, Dom, Bailey, Natty, and Oscar.
To be honest, we were
Maybe
talking
Kyrie
about.
costs Oscar.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe we were talking about not seeing Oscar and Kyrie on TV much. Maybe this is where that feud starts to heat up again.
Um, the other thing you got to look at, maybe that starts that feud. You've also got to
Yeah.
look. We haven't mentioned Bailey and Lyra on the show on WrestleMania at the moment. There's a chance that that could become into the women's tag team title matches. Um,
100%.
another, but Natty is also on this devil run. Does Maxine? Do we get a Maxine Natty as just a base match?
Mm.
Maybe it's announced for the SmackDown before, or instead of that celebrity match, you get that kind of match. And
Yeah.
it's like trainer versus trainee, and you're building that up. So um, maybe she costs it tonight. Obviously, also tonight we have AJ Lee with a segment, CM Punk with a segment, Liv Morgan with a segment. Um, Obviously, building up to what was announced last week of Elimination Chamber, it will be Becky AJ for the Women's Intercontinental, CM Punk, Finn Balor for
As
the
well.
men's world heavyweight, as well as the two chambers. So I think that is your Elimination Chamber card.
Yeah.
Doesn't tend to be more than four matches, especially when you've got big matches like the chambers in them. So
Yeah.
Chamber obviously coming next week. It's going to be interesting. I think the road to WrestleMania is just beginning. Very exciting. Um, Obviously, we've put out what our card is and what we think for WrestleMania, but you let us know what your predictions are for
Yeah.
WrestleMania 42 in Las
It
Vegas.
is.
Let us know who you think will be challenging who, what matches can happen. We haven't even looked at match stipulations on there. I feel like there's going to be a steel cage or a Hell in a Cell at some point put in there.
There needs to be a good stipulation in one of them. I would love to see a steel cage of Hell in a Cell bring back for Mania.
Maybe we get Drew, Cody, and Jacob in a Hell in a Cell. Can't keep them in a chamber. You can't keep them in a steel cage. You can't keep them in a no four count. They have all these types of matches with each other. Stick them in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, they even broke out the arena as well, didn't they?
Mm. So
Um, it was Berlin, I think it was.
yeah, but
Was it? Yeah.
there's a lot of potential to go forward. Um,
There is.
it's exciting, isn't it?
There is. I'm looking forward to it. I love this time of year for wrestling. As I think I can speak on behalf of any wrestling fan who watches WWE. This time of year is very exciting. There's a lot of storylines in the mix, a lot of tensions building, a lot of like maybe, oh, we'll get that, oh, we'll get that. Please, Hunter, Triple H, please don't blow it this year like you
No.
did for like we thought you did for the Rumble. Let's have a good WrestleMania. Let's have a good 6 to 8 weeks building up to it.
I
And
get really excited because it turns New Year, and the first thought that goes from, or the first two thoughts go from my head, not wrestling related, it's FA Cup weekend. Everyone loves the FA Cup coming in football terms.
yeah,
For you Americans, soccer, it's football. Um, and then we look at the Royal Rumble at the end of the month. Then you get excited by the Royal Rumble, and as that's dying down, you then get the Chamber, which then peaks for Mania. So you go Royal Rumble, Chamber, oh WrestleMania, and then you're on that high building into WrestleMania. Then you get, if you get a good WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 40, the 6 months that followed WrestleMania 40 were epic because it was such a good Mania and it built so many storylines. So as soon as you come out of Mania, you're like, right, we've got Backlash in 4 weeks. That's going
yeah,
to be good because we can get some Mania rematches or Mania Fallout, whatever. We're going to get that. So you look excited. That gets the Backlash, that peaks. Then it's usually, right, we've got money in the bank now. Who's going to win the briefcase? Who's going to try and cash in? Who's going to get in?
yeah.
You build back up to Mania then. Well, the same kind of Mania vibe because you've got right money in the bank. Then it
Mhm.
slowly dies. Then you get like Crown Jewel in between. You've had Bash and Berlin the last couple of years, and then you go as it's just getting to that low point of like you're calming down from all the hype of it all. It's like, oh shit, Survivor Series,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're like, fuck yeah, we got Survivor Series, we got War Games, we've got this. So it peaks again, and then you start to go right. What's after War Games? You're chilling out. There's nothing after War Games really. You look at it, and it's like, oh shit, it's January 1st. Fucking oh, Rumble's at the end of the month.
yeah, yeah.
So it's there's always they've got the pay per view set out, and I would say they're probably oh SummerSlam. Fucking forgot about
Summer
SummerSlam.
comes in there, yeah,
You
for
leave
some.
money in the bank, you hit that peak for SummerSlam, and that's what I mean. So you're coming down, you hit SummerSlam, you're like boom, and then it's like right, calm, calm. Survivor Series, boom, and then it's calm. Royal Rumble again, WrestleMania again,
Yeah,
and they built it wow, and it's structured. But I'd like to see more PLEs. Like I feel like it should be Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, No Way Out, WrestleMania, like it used to be.
yeah,
I don't think it used to be Chamber. I think it used to be Royal Rumble, Armageddon, No Mercy, or No Way Out,
yeah,
Mania. I'd like to see that pay at PLE back in March, even if it is just a Saturday night main event,
yeah.
um, just because that could start your smaller rivalries.
No, that was
Um,
very true.
but every couple of months having that massive PLE, you get the little ones in between, like the Bash in Berlin, the Clash at the Castle, Crown Jewel, King of the Ring, all these ones that come in the middle, and you're like, oh, even Elimination Chamber, I class it as a big one, but it's a little pay per view
It
compared
is,
to the
but
Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. But you sit there and you
it's a
go,
big one
I'm
though as
excited
well
for it.
because obviously
Mm,
it does decide a title match for Mania as well.
yeah,
It's not the stipulation to put in, and it gives us something new instead of just like a standard match. It's like the big chamber, and they're always exciting to watch. And this year as well, the card, I'm looking forward to it.
there's a lot of wrestlers that obviously we haven't covered on. Like I said, we do have on
Yeah,
there Penta and Sami Zayn and people like that. And haven't necessarily happy with their matches, but it could happen. But there's
yeah,
that's the problem of trying to build. a PLE where they do 9 matches a night. I think 8 matches a night, 7 or 8 matches a night is
Yeah.
most of those matches are only 2 people, so it's 14 people over 2 nights. That's 28 superstars. You say maybe 3 or 4 matches have more than one, so you're looking at say maximum 40 wrestlers competing at WrestleMania.
Mhm.
Then you look at the roster and you go, there's 100. And in that other
Yeah.
60 are people that should be wrestling. There are 3 or 4 tag teams that should be wrestling. There are, like, if you get rid of the women's tag team titles and make that like a typical tag match, you got the potential of Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend all not being on a WrestleMania card.
Mhm.
And for me, I'm sat there going, we need the Andre the Giant Battle Royal back on WrestleMania, not the SmackDown before. Stick it on WrestleMania where you can go, right, we'll stick 25 superstars that are big, people like your Kit Wilsons and stuff like that. Maybe give that Trick Williams.
Yeah, I agree.
Give
No,
that Trick Williams.
that's a very good shout.
Let him push it on WrestleMania. But you put that on a WrestleMania pre-show, like it
Yeah.
used to be. Or you have it open one of the WrestleManias. Maybe you do a women's, like I don't know, you'd have Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and then maybe you have like a China Battle Royal
Mm.
and
That would be a good
dedicate
one.
over to her. Eighth Wonder of the World Battle Royal or something like that that would be designated to her. That's all women in it, and you have one open night one open night two, and that's how they run. You start with them battle royals, you get a
Yeah.
big win. Someone's going to get a big pop. People like Alba Fire,
Mm.
that's not really going to get a WrestleMania match because they're going to focus on Chelsea Green. She gets time to shine. Do you get the
Yeah.
people like Sol Ruka, Zaria, and stuff like that? So
That would be good.
Javon Evans, we haven't even picked up on Javon Evans going into WrestleMania, and I think
No.
he deserves a match over Trick Williams.
Yeah, it does.
But but
It does.
there's
There's a lot of, as you said, there's a lot of, you could have like 60 odd wrestlers, 40 odd
yeah,
wrestlers on, got 100 there
but
on the road.
you look at the card that we put on. You haven't put in Roxanne,
Yeah.
Raquel. Um, like I said, you haven't put in Bailey. You haven't put in Lyra. You haven't put in Maxine, who's on a good run at getting screen time at the moment. You haven't put in people like Ivy Nile, who are pushing for it. Kiana James. There's a lot of women that I haven't put in. But then, like you said, you look at the men's side of it. You haven't got the Siobhan Evans. You haven't got um, Trick Williams really in there. You haven't got Ray Phoenix, Dragon Lee, Penta,
Yeah.
Sami Zayn. All these people want to see. Um, Maybe even like a Leon Slater, a Joe Hendry is always a good push for Mania. The last couple of years, we seem to have the match of someone coming out. We don't know who they're going to face.
Yeah.
Last year, obviously, we had
Well,
Randy Orton had it. Was meant to face Kevin Owens, didn't happen. We've picked a celebrity match, but that could be someone coming out to the ring, and you get Joe Hendry for the pop. You get KO.
yeah.
Imagine if Kevin Owens returned at WrestleMania, the pop on that.
Mhm.
Imagine if we got Chris Jericho before Chamber. Where do you fit
Yeah.
Chris Jericho into Royal at WrestleMania? Paige is another one that's been spoken about. I feel like Paige and Jericho might be the Raw after Mania. They might be the big people
Yeah,
for
yeah, I
that.
think so.
Um, but there's so many people you haven't even mentioned. Johnny Gargano's another one that hasn't even been mentioned.
Mm. Good one.
Um, but the US Open Challenge, Alistair Black, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
How does Carmelo Hayes do an Open Challenge every week but doesn't defend a title at Mania or only pick one person? Maybe you have him defend it in a gauntlet match or a ladder match or a kind of a. There's 10 of you. Screw it. Over the top rope battle royal. Last one standing. United
Yeah.
States champion. Zack Ryder, Apollo Crews. Oh, Matt Cardona, Apollo Crews. Kit Wilson. All names pop
Yeah.
into. We haven't put these on the card.
No, that is very true. Yeah. There's
Um,
a load. There's a load we were talking about discussing that we missed off, and
so,
that's just to name a few of them. What you've just said, then.
but but let us know your thoughts. I'm
Yeah.
gonna end it there because there's not really a lot that's happening at the moment. I think we've got a good build now to Chamber. Um, Obviously, we will bring you reactions tomorrow. My aim is tomorrow. Bring reactions to Raw.
Mhm.
Maybe we do a little video tomorrow or Wednesday that'll go out with our Raw reactions, building up to Chamber. We'll obviously know tonight two more people in the Chamber matches, a little bit more about
Yeah,
what AJ wants to say and stuff like that. So it's exciting times, but
it is. It definitely is.
it's a good time to be a wrestling fan, and I'm quite excited for it. So
Always
um,
is. WrestleMania is always exciting.
we'll leave it there. Um, Now, I've had a thought. I've been having really weird questions pop into my head that
Hmm.
I've always thought, oh, I'll ask David that question. I've held them off. So every show now, I'm going to end the show by asking you a question, wrestling-based
Go
question.
on.
Get your responses. And when we've got special guests, we can ask them. So the question this week will be, if you had to wear a mask that has
Yeah.
previously been worn in wrestling,
Oh,
whose mask would you want and why?
mankind, Nicole.
The
Right.
leather strap.
Yeah.
Why?
One, couldn't claustrophobic if I can still breathing.
Yeah,
But no, I love the style of that mask. I think it just puts something a bit different.
yeah.
And um, he was one of my top 10 wrestlers. Um, I don't think I'd look good in a lucha libre mask, should I say? Not one chance possible with me bushy beard hanging over the end. Um, but
Depends if you got a Ray style one, you just have your chin hanging out.
yeah, no, that's true. But no, I'm massive. Even Mick Foley been part of my top 10. What we did a few months ago. Massive fan of his. And he's icon, one of the iconic masks that stands out to me. As soon as you mentioned masks, it was well, obviously Rey Mysterio was the first one that popped in my head, but
Yeah,
this was the second one, so I think it'll definitely be his.
I think only because I had them when I was younger.
Hmm.
I think mine would have to be Ray.
Hmm.
Um, but it would probably be Ray when he had the big fluffy mohawk,
Yeah,
just because I think that it looks like a sweeping brush, but I love it as a mask. So I think my unique mask for this week would be
yeah.
Rey Mysterio with a brush because I just liked Rey Mysterio growing up, and I had the masks. So when you say
Yeah.
you feel claustrophobic, they don't feel that bad on you. Like you have holes in your nose where you can breathe through, and your mouth's all covered.
Oh,
With masks,
you
with
know
Sin
me.
Cara, it's different because it's like completely covers your face
Yeah.
and Axiom. But like Rey Mysterio's, obviously his nose is clear, his mouth's all
Mm.
free, so you kind of get a bit more of a free vibe.
Yeah.
But that's my weird question for the week. So let us know in the comments whose mask you would wear and why.
Yes.
And we will catch you next time.
Yes. See you later.